Don't just live for tomorrow, or just live in yesterday. Just be glad for all you have that's in today.
Hey everyone, Connie here, and welcome to my blind reaction to The Owl House, episode 13. So, last time on The Owl House, we got one of, if not my favorite episode of the series so far. Not only was it cute and fun and had some great winter outfits for our characters, but it was a great development episode, showing how far Amity has come, showing Luz just continuing to grow in terms of her magic and just, people skills. We got to see more cool stuff with Ida. We got to see another cool creature. Even got to see Amity's siblings, and they actually were pretty good in the episode, I would say. But yeah, and in the end, Luz learned a new spell. So now she not only has her light spell, but she can also create pillars of ice and shit. So it's like, that's fun. I wonder if she can do that with any other material, or if it has to be ice. Could she do it with rock? Could she do it with metal? Or does it have to be ice for that spell? Not sure. But either way, the episode was really fun, really enjoyable. There was definitely a lot of good fuel for the Luz and Amity ship, which I'm very much behind at this point. Like, I definitely support it at this point in time. They just have really great chemistry with each other. And also, it was pointed out on the Discord server that Amity is voiced by Mae Whitman, the voice of Katara from Avatar: The Last Airbender. And it's just, that completely blew my mind, because I went back and listened to her again, and it's like, oh my god, yeah, that's super blatantly Mae Whitman, like without question. And it's like, I had no idea. I just did not know. And it's like, but it's one of those cases where you don't recognize the voice until you hear it, but then what, or until you know it, but then once you know it, it's all you can hear. It's so blatant. And wow, maybe it's because of her personality and um the way she speaks and everything, but it's just, I never would have guessed that. It just never occurred to me that that was what Mae Whitman. But that's pretty damn awesome, and I love it. Great to see. I don't know, like, of anything else she's done besides Avatar too. I've probably heard her in other things and just not realized it, but I don't think I know of anything else she's done, like actively know her for other roles. But maybe I do know other stuff she's been in and know other roles she's done. I just don't realize it. But yeah, I just really loved that episode. It was really good in pretty much every way. But we move on, and as always, I don't know what to expect. I don't know what we're getting into this time. We'll just kind of have to see. But like I said, I am excited. So let's find out. When the screen fades to black, pause this redirect and go to the description below. Follow the link to the reaction, and after you watch it, come back here to the redirect and resume play. Because after it fades to black, then fades back in, everything from that point forward will be my afterthoughts and will contain spoilers to the episode. So, that being said, thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you at the reaction. And we are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. So, yeah, I enjoyed this episode. A good first episode for Luz being in the school. Um, you know what I mean by that. I worded that weird. But yeah, I really enjoyed the concept of it, and especially the lesson, you could say. Because let's talk about that. The idea of hindering students by forcing them to adhere to one thing is extremely problematic on multiple levels. One, it hinders knowledge. not to mention it forces them into a single focus that shuts their minds and like ideas to the future. It just completely like closes them out. And that's not only not healthy for a learning environment, but it's just straight up dangerous. Like kids aren't going to learn what they need to learn properly if you try to teach them in that way. Like like okay, let's put it in real world school kind of equivalence, right? So let's say you're in high school because this is equivalent to high school. So let's say you're put into a math track. Every class you have is all math, nothing else. You don't learn history, you don't learn science, you don't learn literature, any of that. Can you see already why that would be absolutely horrible to be put into? Like, math is okay enough to learn for sure, but the point is you need everything. You need to have that diversity of class, of study in order to, properly grow and learn and develop as a person. And honestly, public schooling is not the best with that as it is, because honestly, they do not teach you the stuff they should be teaching you. But you get the point either way. Um, the idea of like focusing on one track, like even in college, like even if you take even if you're going for a degree in something specific, you're still studying other stuff. You're still taking classes for other stuff that's just basic things that you might need, and you can take classes for anything. You can go to college to be, for example, let's say, I don't know, let's say you're going to college for economics, just as an example of something. Let's say you're going to college for economics, right? So there's a lot of history involved in that. There's a lot of math involved in that. Just a lot of stuff like that. But let's say that you want to take a class about chemistry. You want to take a chemistry class. It adds really nothing to economics, but it's something that you want and something you desire and something that would be fun to take. So you take it. It allows you to grow and learn in a different way while not taking anything away from you learning about economics. It's just something extra added on. And so it's like, it's kind of the same thing here. By forcing them to focus on only one track, you're forcing them into this idea that magic has to be performed in kind of this binary system. Like, there's not even any reason given for why they can't do more than one track, for why they can't mix magic. There's literally no reason given. It's just because it's the rules. That's it. And it's like that doesn't actually explain anything. That does not explain anything. That does not actually like excuse that. That means nothing. So it's like, what is that supposed to do? What is that supposed to say? Like, why can't you mix magic? Now, if there was like some kind of reason given, like it was dangerous or something, or it could potentially cause problems, and yes, they kind of showed that a little bit, but they were still studying, and those kind of problems can happen with following one single track. Look at all the mess Luz made with her potions. Granted, she wasn't really paying attention, but that's the point still, that these kinds of issues can still come from a single track without mixing magic. So it doesn't really work as an argument in any way. But there's some other things of note in this episode, too. So we get a new creature, and this one is called the higher basilisk, I think it was. Higher basilisk or upper basilisk or something like that. But it is a basilisk-like creature. I say that because it's not typical to standard basilisks you see, where it doesn't like freeze you in stone. Um, Petrify, that's the word I was looking for. It doesn't petrify you, but instead sucks out your magic. Um, so it had disguised itself as an inspector from the Emperor's Coven and had come into the school after having already stolen the magic from other schools, which explained what we saw in the crystal ball before. And so now it does so here, and Luz and her new friends, her troublemaker friends, have to solve things. And they do by mixing magic. And luckily, Principal Bump does see that he was wrong once they explain it, and once they like kind of throw in his face that it's like, oh yeah, we saved your school. Like without us, this school would probably be fucked. So it's like he couldn't argue against that. He even like said it's like I'm smart enough to admit when I'm wrong. And it's like you were very much wrong, yes. Um, but it's pretty interesting nonetheless to see it happen like this. But also there's this scene in there, like this moment of amity when Luz was peeking through one of the secret doors. Um, and it's like Amity is seemingly talking to herself, like saying it's like it's not a big deal that she's here now or something. Like she's clearly talking about Luz, and it's like it's just adding more and more to the ship. Um, it just is. So it's like I'm okay with this. We also found out that Ida had founded the secret room in the first place, the secret room that had all the doors leading everywhere, which makes complete sense. Also, so does the fact that she had gotten in trouble in the first place for trying to mix magic and everything in the past. So it's like, yeah, it's like everything just kind of coming together in that. Really like that. Gus had some funny moments in there. Not as many funny moments from Willow. She's definitely playing more of the straight man character, but that's fine because she still gets some good lines in it as well. Um, there were some new students and teachers and stuff shown, and it's like getting to see some new cute designs and everything. It's like I can dig that. um, but yeah, overall, I did enjoy this, and I think I like where this is going to be going now that they're able to study whatever they want. Um, and I hope we get to see more of Viney and the others as this goes along. And yeah, I looked up the voices in between, and I don't know any of them. um, at least not by name. Um, but yeah, it's just I think that this series is really showing its potential now. Um, I think it's going to keep getting better, honestly, as long as it keeps this kind of stuff up. This wasn't as good as last episode, but it was still good, and it still deserves to be seen as such. Um, so yeah, I did really enjoy this one as well. It added some depth, it grew on things, um, and it was fun, and had a good lesson about like, yeah, we should allow kids, students to diversify their interests to truly find out what they want. Because just trying to force them into one thing from the beginning isn't going to actually help anything. But either way, tell me in the comments below what you thought of this episode of The Owl House, and thank you so much for tuning in. For now, I'm Connie, and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.